welcome Vinny to our travel talk. I'm so glad that he actually came on live with me.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people that have canceled on me. So round of applause. Yay.
Yeah. Good to be here.
Oh, good. So I know you like to travel, and what has been some of your, why don't you just give us a little bit about tell us a little bit about yourself, and what is one of your favorite places to travel to?
Favorite places to travel. So again, VFC's Travels. I have a travel website and also a travel advisor business. YouTube, VFC's Travels, Instagram, TikTok. And don't know if you know or not our history, but Remy and I served together back in the past. So we were lucky enough to travel the world. And I always...
On the government's dime.
On the government's dime. And I always referred to us as ambassadors of the world while we were out there. So our job was not only to do what we were out there to do, protect and serve, but to learn the cultures and learn about the people that we were there with. So it was exciting. So I started the VFC's Travels as a vlog to give people views and sights of what we were lucky enough to see too. And real quick, I don't want to babble too long, but my grandmother, who is Maltese, but she was born in Egypt because her father, Malta was a part of Britain at the time. So she was born in Egypt at the UK embassy there. And she immigrated to the United States when she was 17. And she always told me, keep a blog of your travels, keep a journal, track of what you do. And I never did that when I was in the Navy. I was too busy dancing on bars and doing shots. So I wanted to pay that back to my grandmother and document my travels also. And my kids are following in the same steps, not necessarily with the YouTube and the blogging, but the traveling and learning the cultures and the people. So one of the favorite places that we've ever been was Crete, Greece. So I spend a lot of time there in the service, but in my younger years, I was in the bars, in the beaches and stuff. So that's the place that I always go back to because there's so much to explore on the island. And out of all the places that I've gone around, Crete is one of the ones that's kept its culture. They haven't bought into the commercialization and the tourism as much. So you can still catch the locals when you go back. For instance, getting that raki with the dessert on the house at the end of a meal, you're not getting something like that in many other places of the world in this day and age, but they're still proud to make sure you're getting them with you. Now, don't get me wrong, if you go to the places that are geared only for American tourists, the prices will be a little higher and they'll expect a little bit of tips, but not so much. So we're going to call this Wine Wednesdays with Remy and VFC.
Okay, is that what we're going to call it instead? It's so neat that I didn't realize that your mother was from Malta, and so your grandmother. Yeah, I just always thought that you were Italian for some reason, but
nope. When I did that DNA test, and it's Italian is it's pretty much equal. The Italian and Maltese.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's neat that your grandmother loved to travel, that you're traveling, that your children are traveling, and so this isn't one of the questions that I had in mind, but you were saying how you wanted to document all this stuff. Your grandmother told you to document your travels. Why do you think that's important?
I think it's important to go out and not just see the world, important to learn the cultures and meet the people and to open the mind. It's so easy these days with technology to just get stuck in bubbles and live your life in a bubble in your comfort zone. And you say, yeah, next year I'm going to go do something. Next year I'm going to go do something. So it's a little bit of motivation for yourself to remind yourself that there's more out there than what you're seeing now. And then that motivates you to remind yourself that there's still more to go out there and do and see. So it is a motivation for me because if you get in a rut and you're sitting on watching TV and you're getting in these Netflix series and you're spending a couple of months not doing shit. Sorry, am I allowed to say that on here? But uh, you might look at your documentation, like I'll look at my travel videos and say, wow, I was really a badass in 2021. I got to go out and top that year. And it brightens your soul and everything. And I don't know if this is another question, but the one thing that motivated me to keep going, because when I started the channel, the other thing that got me started is this was like 2016 or something, and the kids are 17, and my kids were just in those early teenage years, and they started doing these YouTube, like they had YouTube channels, and I'm seeing what they're doing. It was at the very early stages for when this whole generation started doing it. I'm like, I could do that shit too, with the YouTube channels. So I started, and we were lucky. We were on a family vacation out there in Portugal, and I had done a YouTube video the year prior when we were there of the Benagil Beach Cave, which is this really nice cave in Portugal. There's a beach, and then you can swim around the rocks, or you can use a floaty like I did, because I can't swim like the kids. They're like fishes. I swim like a rock. So I used the little floaty. But anyway, to go inside this amazing beach cave and look at it, put that on the channel. The next year when we were in there, this Portuguese guy came up to me and he said, "Are you VFC's Travels?" And I said, "Yeah." And my son and his friends thought I was a badass after that. So they loved it. And he says, "I want to tell you one thing, is that I am Portuguese from the north of the country, and I did not know that my country that had this much beauty, something as beautiful as this in my country, until I watched your video." Wow. So that inspired me to keep going with documenting it, because you never know whose life you're going to touch. Yeah. You never know who you're going to inspire to do it out there, and I try to mix it up with some adventure, but also showing people that you don't have to, that if you're afraid of heights or hikes and those mountain roads, there's also places to go where you can still get that feeling, but be a little bit more tranquilo. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's awesome. So you talked about Crete. Do you think that that's your best travel experience, and that you would go back there again, and you just love it because it's old and doesn't change as much? Is that basically it?
Yeah, I love it because it's very raw. I don't know if that's the right word. It's very raw. If you want to be on the north side of the island, there's a lot of beaches for tourists. They're flat. You can see some mountains and just hang out. But when you go to the south of the island, nothing's changed. I was surprised. They paved a few roads that weren't paved for years down there. But other than that, you're getting these plunging mountains right into the water with these fantastic views, and it's like the Cretan people are very pure. They're raw. They don't try to fake and be somebody they're not. The food is great too, and I can't lie, I love that free raki at the end of the meal too. So Crete is I think my favorite place. My best travel experience, I think, is the story I just told about the guy in the Benagil Beach Cave, because that's an inspiration to know that you're touching somebody in his own country. Yeah. He pretty much told me my ass would still be sitting on my couch if I didn't watch your video, and here I am today. But yeah, I'll always go back to Crete, Spain, of course, because we were based there for 10 years. So Spain holds a special place in my heart, and a few others, but Crete, Spain. And I always love going to Italia too, but it's tougher to find places in Italy that they still keep their culture and they're very proud of their culture, but Italy is very, very touristy. Yeah. That's my only drawback with going there over and over.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't imagine just being smushed like in Venice, and like it's just horrible.
Right.
Okay. So you've traveled so much. What is a good travel tip? What's one of your best travel tips when you go to travel?
So this is good. When I have good tips too, on my VFC's Travels YouTube channel, I have a playlist for travel tips. So I recommend people check that out too. But
Put it in the chat. Do you know what it is? Do you have your...
I'm sorry, what is it?
Okay. Your tips. Is it just on your YouTube page?
On my YouTube page, VFC's Travel Tips. Just yeah, put travel tips up there, and the playlist will pop up.
Okay.
There's a few things is one. I think especially people from America
Mhm.
are afraid to break the mold sometimes, and they'll stick to booking their entire trips through like Delta or American or United and sticking to the American Airlines. Um, so the tip I'm always telling people is don't be afraid of these low cost airlines like Ryanair, for instance. Don't be afraid of. There's a couple others in Europe that had popped up since I was last. So when I did just this last trip a month ago, we only just got back. I used Delta to get to Crete, and I used Delta to fly out of Spain, and that was mostly because I had built up miles, so I didn't really look at anything else. But when I was there, is we used Aegean Air to go from Hanya to Rome, and then Ryanair to go from Rome to uh, Sevilla, Spain, is where we flew into. But when I compared those prices, like booking it through the American websites, we probably would have spent about at least $1,000 more than what it cost to go on Ryanair. The basic Ryanair flight was like 30 euro
Mhm.
to go from Rome to Sevilla, and then of course you get the upgrades, pay for a bag. That's the thing you have to expect when you do that. You pay for your bags, but it was still like $120 for the flight. So it's very cheap. So don't be afraid to use the low cost local airlines. Is the other tip I like to give. I had another one that was good. So don't be afraid. This is the one tip I always love to give. Don't go to Spain, for instance, and think you're gonna get like Kentucky Fried Chicken. Um, and it sounds like a joke, but so many people go out to Europe, and my favorite is when people go to Italy and they order Italian food, and then they say this isn't how it's supposed to be. It's like get the fuck out of here. This isn't how it's supposed. You're in Italy. This is Italian food. Maybe we don't do it right. So that's the thing is open your mind and enjoy the local food and the local cultures, and don't be that person walking into a restaurant saying this isn't how it's supposed to be cooked. And then my favorite, I got a lot of favorites today. So I was in Rome with someone a few years ago, and this is good. So because antipasti in New York is you get the whole tray, right? You get the cold cuts,
Yeah.
you get the prosciutto, you get all the cheeses, and that's called antipasti. But antipasti actually means before the meal, so it means appetizer. So when you go to Italy and you order antipasti, and the waiter looks at you like you're nuts and says, which one? And they're like, antipasti. No, which antipasti? So it's a funny dynamic. So that's the tip, is just look at the menu, enjoy the local food, and don't be afraid to try it. And don't be that obnoxious American that says this isn't how it's supposed to be, or where's my fried chicken? Because I've seen it too many times.
Yeah.
Ambassadors of the world, we gotta be.
That's one thing too, is just learning a little bit about the culture, right? Just having an idea. So I think another thing about Italy and eating is they have the different courses, whereas you have your pasta is just a course, and your meats are just a course. And here, pasta, and you go to Olive Garden, you get the chicken parmesan with the pasta, and that's not necessarily how it's served when you go to Italy. So just being aware of other people's culture and being accepting of it.
And let's not use Olive Garden in any conversation about Italian food, please.
Okay.
But and then the last travel tip I like to remind people is that American Express in Europe, they say don't leave home without it, but you leave home without American Express in Europe. There's so many places don't take it.
That's true.
So make sure you got a Visa and MasterCard out there.
Yeah. I wondered how I didn't even think about that. I haven't even thought about American Express. That was good that you brought that up. And how do you think? So what's your favorite thing about traveling?
I don't know if I have the words to describe it. Just getting out there and seeing new things. I think I come from when I hear stories about my family in the past, they were travelers, so it must be in the blood. but the exploring and seeing new things and feeling like you're you're it just brings the world together. It brings people together. There's so much division and hatred in the world today, and I think traveling breaks through a lot of those barriers to sit down and understand people from different countries, cultures, understand their experiences, being willing to put yourself in their shoes and, like I was saying, eat the foods that they eat, walk the roads that they eat. It opens the mind to a point that breaks down the barriers and finds common ground. I think that's my favorite part of it is the diversity and meeting people and understanding how the world works.
That's really good. And when you're actually there and you see how they live, and then you understand their culture so much more. You understand where they come from. Good. And how do you think traveling has changed you?
In two ways. When I was forced to travel when we were in the service, of course, that was one. I had fears a little bit, as most people would, just going overseas and doing things. So it changed me in the sense that at that time in my life, it changed me to realize I was silly to have these fears of going to foreign cultures and foreign people and doing foreign things. The people were always so welcoming. Spain is one of the most welcoming countries in the world. And I spent such a large portion of my life there and with Greece because, of course, we had that terribly tough life where we lived in Spain and worked in Crete. So it changed me in the sense it just opened my mind as people from all walks of life generally just want to be happy. They want the same things in life. They want to take care of their families. They want to be with their friends. They want to eat, drink, have a good time, hang out at the beach, hike in the mountains, whatever it is. People are inherently the same. So it really changed me for that. Now I changed again when I retired from the Navy and started going back to these places as a civilian. It really allowed me to open my eyes and my heart even more, mostly because I didn't have to worry about a midnight curfew. But it really was, it's just eye-opening. I think it's a shame that we laden our youth with debt so early in life with college loans and everything, because if more young Americans could travel early in life, I think so many things could be different and the world could come together. But I do like things like what we're doing now. The way technology has come around is it brings people together in ways that we were never able to before. So people can rally around each other on social media, TikTok and all stuff like that.
Well, that's so good. That's neat that you can tell. I mean, that there's a difference between your younger years traveling, for the government, and then, just you being able to travel as a civilian. So it's neat.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic, and I wish I would have. I'm not complaining. I have no regrets about our younger years, but I could say that it would have been nice to have explored a little bit more when I was younger. But I mean, we were in our 20s, so I enjoyed dancing on the bars and telling everybody, hey, give me money so I can go buy you guys souvlakis. And then I never made it back from the bar, and all the money was spent on the shots, and no souvlakis ever made it back. So.
Yep. And that's just it. Like, you just have to appreciate, those moments of being, and I think that's what youth is, right? Just being silly and stupid, and it's okay. It's all good. And that's just it. I was talking to one of my other friends about, being older and traveling. As you said, it's a shame that, because she's in good health, but she says that it's just different. She's not as limber and everything else, even though she still does yoga. But when you are in your 20s, you can stay up till 2-3 in the morning and get up again and just, keep going and just enjoying and learning even more about cultures, and then having that and bringing it back to the U.S., like you said, and using that for building a better foundation with all these other nations.
Yes.
So, well, do you have any last comments you'd like to?
No, but what's your favorite travel experience?
My favorite travel experience. So I think about this a lot. I've really just had, I really had a blessed life. Like, I can't, I was thinking about, like you said, going, living in Spain and going to Crete and, going to Aviano, and it's just like, I love that part of my life. And then, John took us over to Asia, and we went to Thailand, and when you were talking about the ruggedness of a culture, it's very rugged there. And we were able to go to Bali, and it's just, I've had so many great experiences that it would be so hard to just say this, because but I think under it all is just learning new cultures, like you said. I remember being so PO'd when I was in Spain, and they would have siesta, and I just wanted to grab something to eat, and everything was closed, and I was just so mad. But then, after you're there for 4 months, you're like, okay, you just deal with it, and you go, and then you're like, oh, it's not so bad, and you just adjust to it, and you understand. And then I remember being in Thailand, and it was Christmas Day, and the gardeners were raking, and I'm like, why are these people working? They're raking in our yard, and I'm like, why are they picking up the branches? It's Christmas. And it dawned on me that they're not Christian, that they're Buddhist, and that's why they're working. And so it's just being able to learn the different cultures that have just opened my brain and opened my mind and opened my heart to understand that not everybody is like us.
Right.
So I think that's what my experience is in traveling. It's just taught me to appreciate the world, like you said. So it's neat that even though I really feel we have totally different personalities, that that is definitely something that we do agree on, is that the world is a big place, but when you go out there, you can learn more about them and appreciate the different cultures.
Yes. So by different personalities, are you telling everybody that I'm more fun?
Yes, definitely. more fun. My daughter even said that, because she looked on your Facebook and she's like, oh, Mom, who's that? And I'm like, oh, that's my friend from the Navy. And she's like, really? Like, she was so surprised I had you as a friend.
That's awesome.
I know. So it's like, yeah. He's like your Aunt Kitty, my sister. She's like your Aunt Kitty. He's like your Aunt Kitty. Always just having fun and drinking and enjoying himself.
Nice. No life like the good life. That's what I like to say.
Exactly. And that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being on, and I look forward to next week when we have more travel tips for people.
Yes. Thanks, Remy. Great chatting.
All right.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Reimagined.